How's it, folks? Welcome to another little session with Gavin Mills, Harvey. If it's the first time you're joining me, welcome. Looking forward to having a bit of a chat and hopefully I speak about some shit that might interest you. If you guys have seen me before, thank you for coming back. But I'm sure there's many of you, most of you people don't know me, do you? You've seen me on Facebook and social media. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, who the fuck is this guy? Why does he turn around? What makes him think that he has the right to speak on such serious matters on social media? What gives him? What are his credentials? What are his qualifications? That's the boring part. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher, but I have had a quite colourful background and colourful life, and I think from the journey that I've travelled I've learned quite a few things and perspectives that are not sort of mainstream. They're not sort of conventional, but they're things that do work, and I think that there are things that help people and can help people in life. It's very much to do with mind space, where my mind is, where a person's mind should be. What is your perspective about the world and your role in the world? These are the kind of things that I think a lot of the lessons I have learned. So a little bit about me. What am I? Who am I? Well, first of all, as you can see, I smoke weed. Okay, I've been smoking weed since I was about 19, so 40 years. Last week I realized the wrong side of it, and I said a couple of prayers and Hail Marys and faced and did the whole amen, and a big voice came from the heaven and said, "My son, you are forgiven. Thou shalt smoke the herb superb, and thou shalt still enter the kingdom of the great herb." Now I'm only bullshitting obviously, but fuck, herb, I don't do drugs, I don't do chemicals. I've been there, had a long time chemicals, never done prescription drugs. They create another story on their own, and I don't drink. But I think smoking weed is not good for me, but my God, it's good for my friends, because me without weed is like hectic. No, I'm not. I'm just quite a hyperactive, kind of passionate kind of guy, and sometimes I'm a little bit over exuberant. Okay, so weed is a good thing. I was born in a little town of Springs, long time ago. Noah parked the ark just on the hill there behind Daggerfontein for Springs people. The ark came through, that's where the animals came through, and then they had to fucking walk all the way to Helderfontein, to the cradle of humankind. It was frightening. Anyway, I watched the procession. I thought, I hated the fucking baboons. They were terrible. They could never keep in line. The lions were cool. Anyway, so born in Springs. When I was young, I was a little bit embarrassed about that. Before I went to varsity, coming from Springs, you'd go to Benoni for a party and get fucked up by the labs. And it was like, where do you come from? Well, Benoni was cool. Brakpan was actually bragging rights. If you went to a jail, there was a club in Brakpan. It was amazing, okay? But if you went there, people say, where are you from? You're like, hey, man, I'm from Springs. It was like quite cool. Benoni, you were sort of like, I'm from the East Rand, Joburg, that was apology, changed the subject. But then I went to varsity, and then after varsity, and I grew up, and I became a man. And the amazing thing about Springs is not a town. The old people from Springs are not just residents of Springs. They're a fucking family. They are all over the world. Australia, the States, Far East, South America. And people with Springs always hang together, and they're proud of that. And they're proud of their music heritage. And so, yes, I am proudly from Springs, proudly from our little town, and sad that it has actually become such a fuck up now. But anyway, the people were cool, and they're still cool, and I still go visit friends there, and it's lovely, lovely, lovely. But I went to Christian Brothers College in Springs, which was supposedly the best school, and I was one of the first pupils. Our class was the first one that went from standard 1 to matric. Before that, we went to grade 1 and grade 2 at the convent, Springs Convent, which is quite cool, like multi-sexual school, 5 and 6. You're not allowed to say that nowadays. Oh, no, there were boys and girls in the classes, but then they separated us. We got segregated to CBC. And it was cool school. I liked the school. A couple of memories of it is the first time I got jacked. They used to jack you on your hand. Bang, they had a big strap and they used to fucking move you on your hand if you did something naughty. Needless to say, I was quite a naughty little bugger. But I also had a great, great father and mother. Okay, my father was the most honourable man I have ever met in my life and will meet. He was just an honourable man. And he brought me up right. He brought me up strong. He brought me up to be a man. But I think every second of the way was a fight. I was not the kind to give in, and I wasn't the kind to give in to authority. And I used to get hidings with a sjambok, bang, on my bum and my legs, and fucking hell. That after getting hidings at school, when I first went to school, and they jacked me with that strap, it was like, open season! And that's how I lived for the next 12 years. I wasn't ridiculous. I wasn't doing drugs and all the cuck. But I was a naughty little shit, putting hubcaps in school teachers' wheels and nonsense like that. Anyway, came out, then I went and did engineering at varsity, chemical engineering. Was there for 3 years, but the studies started interfering with my social life, so that didn't actually succeed. Crashed badly, let my folks down because I had a bursary from Cecil. And yeah, I regret that. Why did that happen? Why did I just let that fuck up? I'll come back to that. That's part of my life that I'll be telling. But anyway, did the engineering, dropped out, didn't know what I was going to do, except the country knew what I had to do. It was army time, so I went and did 2 years of army. And I was a tiffy. I did officer's course at Fort Hoogte. Quite cool. I arrived there the first day. Amazing. And I check in, and there's 2 million lighties. All come long hair, and they put us on these big bungalows, these big barracks and stuff. And we checked this out, and I saw it was chaos, man. It was absolute. So I thought, no, this is just not cool. So I just walked out. Just got up, went out, and I went to jail for 2 days. And then I came back. I thought they wouldn't miss me, you know what I mean? But they did. But I then came back, and by the time I got back, everyone had their injections, and their hair was short. I recognized no one, man. And I went and stood at my bed. I knew where my bed was. And the corporal came in. I didn't know it was a corporal. He also had short hair. And I just, fucking stand up, hand up, you're going to get into shit. Jeez, and all the others were shaking. And he came and said, what say here? I was in cuck, needless to say. But anyway, did the army, decided, let's do an officer's course. Then at least I should for a year, and then I'll have an easy riding for a year. And I did the officer's course for a year. Then I went to 3SI, and then I spent 6 months on the border at a place called Ogongo 52 Battalion. And then came back and didn't know what I was going to do. So then my sister, I've got a twin sister, and she was going to do a computer course, which sounded cool to me. So I went and go and did the course here. What you had to do is write some kind of IQ test at a place called Van Zyl and Pritchard. And you write IQ tests, and then they invite you to come and do the course, and then they say you do a company. So off I do. I did my computers, finished the course. They sold me to a company in Springs, which was boring as shit. But in the meantime, I'd find out about dancing. The movie, Staying Alive, Staying Alive. All these movies had come out. No, it wasn't Staying. It was Saturday Night Fever in Greece. And they had dancing competitions. While I was in the army, I had a girlfriend who was a dancer. So we decided we would go and enter dancing competitions at nightclubs. So I said to the army, I was still in the basics and officers course, crazy. And we said we were marathon runners, myself and a friend. First we said we were golfers. So every Wednesday we used to take our golf clubs, head out, and he had a guy called Claudio, and he had a Mustang Shelby, cool car, fucking down the corner in the Shelby, bomb, and we go and jaw for the whole night. And then we would come back. So we once or twice a week we'd go jawing. And then on officers course it was quite funny. We had a guy on the course with us, a bit of a doffer, okay? And we'd go joining to about 2 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and we'd come back broken. And then there were 2 of us, so this was final phase of officers course, and there were 2 of us in like a little, some 2, some 1, in these little like bungalows, little like suites. And we'd go and put our overalls on, and we'd run outside, and we'd go and wake the say, hey, we're already gone. We had to do an 8-kilometer run every morning. I said, Alex, I'm gone. Why are you fucking stupid? We're going to get this shit. And we'd hide and run away. And this poor oak would get up, put his overall on, and go charging. He was out on the road around And he'd go trying to catch us up, and then he'd get back, and at 4 o'clock they'd wake us up, and he'd have to go again. Meanwhile, we're going to see, ha 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 ha. But anyways, I finished officers, went to the board, it came out, did the computer programming, started getting in, dancing movies came along, entered dancing competition. A TV producer came to me and saw us at a club or something and offered to join a dancing company for SABC. I'd never done professional dancing before, but I'd done martial arts for many years. So I was pretty coordinated and pretty supple. So off we went and did an audition for this thing, didn't make the first one, bombed it, didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, went back, thought, no, this I want to do. And started learning to dance, did SABC, did Sun City, a couple of extravaganzas, went over to Europe, was principal at the Moulin Rouge in Paris, well, principal understudy and soloist at the Moulin Rouge in Paris, principal at Scala in Spain, Estoril Casino, Portugal, a lot of the clubs all over there. Came back in 1991. Long story, I'll get to that as well. Also got kicked out of Portugal, crazy one. And came back, didn't know what I was going to do. I'd hurt my leg again. I'd damaged my legs my whole life. Started choreographing little strip clubs and stuff like this, not in a bad place. And eventually picked myself up just before the Miss World pageant at Sun City. Was dancing again, getting fit. Got into, they phoned me and asked me if I wanted to do the show. Got there. At the pageant, I met my future wife. And she came, and then we had a romance. She came to South Africa after the pageant. I got into marketing and landed up at Ogilvy Mather, launching the event marketing division. Eventually married this girl, had 2 kids, brought them up. They're now 17 and 14. Left Ogilvy Mather in 1998, started my own business, getting into events and event marketing. Wrote 6 books. Invented a couple of things along the line, busy marketing a computer gaming chair, which we invented, and we're pushing into the market now. And land up now that I'm reading, doing a lot of things, writing a book on God and the meaning of life, which is quite a big project. Been working on it for a couple of years. And speaking to other people and kids especially, I find that my perspectives are not normal. They are off the cuff, but they work, some of them. And they're very simple. And these are the things that I'll share. So I'll be sharing some of these in the next couple of weeks. If you're interested, please join us. And yeah, let's have some fun.